I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 226. Henry Purcell, and I don't know how the name is pronounced, while doing standing yoga, and if you participate in the standing yoga, that is at your own risk. Classical music has been popular in the UK for many centuries. So classical music is a genre of music, at least now from today's scene, when written 200, 300, 400 years ago, it was more or less just music. But there was, and we're coming to that in a moment, of church music, so there are also different types of music, many different types of music. Classical music is not the only type of music. The bagpipe is probably not seen as classical music, but the music was done with it also by classical music. So classical music, that is the music style done mostly with an orchestra, with classical instruments. So many bowstring instruments like the violin or the contrabass or cello, or wind instruments like flute or clarinet or the oboe, and also percussionists and so on and so on. So the orchestra stuff. But the orchestra can also play other things than classical music, but more or less the instruments are made for classical music, and classical music is written for orchestra, and other types of genre of music is not written for classical music instruments. So classical music is orchestra music in a way. But of course, orchestra music can be different. For example, film music is often done with an orchestra, and film music is not classical music. Classical music, so it's a type of music, it's basically played with an orchestra, has been popular in the UK for many centuries. So not just today, many people love classical music, but also 10 years ago, and 11 years ago, and 12 years ago, and already 13 years ago, and already 130 years ago, and 260 years ago. And even 390 years ago, people love classical music. And many people, it's popular. Henry Purcell, 1695, was an organist at Westminster Abbey. We know something about Westminster Abbey. There was a picture I wanted to show closer. It was not Westminster Abbey. Westminster Abbey, that is the place the monarch of the United Kingdom is crowned since William the Conqueror, and it's also the resting place of many monarchs. Now I don't find a picture, which I wanted to show. That is Westminster Abbey. He was an organist, and an organ is not so much a classical instrument actually, but that is certainly, he wrote church music. An organ is not really a classical music instrument, but it's similar. A piano is also not really a classical instrument, but a piano is often used in classical music, but the piano is often used also in other types of music. So in Westminster Abbey there's an organ, obviously, and an organ is a very big instrument. They can be also small, but they're working similar to a piano. You have keys, and you have many. They're called keys. These are basically little buttons you press, and every time you press a button, a sound comes out. You have also some at the ground by organ. These are many. Every time you press a button with the foot, there's also a sound coming, and that sound comes because I don't know exactly for an organ, but when a valve is it a valve? A valve is opened, and when air can come through, air is pressed through. So every time you press a button, somewhere a valve is opened, and if the valve is opened, the air comes through, and the air comes then through a big metal piece, let's say 2 meter long metal piece, and if air goes through it, that makes a sound. You can already hear wind. If wind is during a storm very loud, you can hear the wind, and if the wind now goes through a piece of metal, that metal makes specific vibrations, and then a specific sound comes, and you can manage the sound what the sound kind it is by making the metal that and that long. If you have a very short metal, the sound is high. If you make the metal very long and thicker and so on, then it's more deep. And now if you make 50 of them and you sort them really pretty well, and when you have all the keys, when you have for every of them a key, and now you can say at a height, a deep tone, a bit deeper, it goes higher, a bit higher, and then that sound comes. So you open then that button that opens the 2 meter long thing, and then a high sound comes. And when you open that button, the 2.5 meter long thing, and a bit deeper sound comes. And then you can press 3 at the same time, and 3 with the feet. And now that whole thing plays 10 different sounds at the same time, and they together make the music. You can compose it, that it gives the melody, then you press the next keys and so on. And when there are people who are pumping, someone has to make the wind, the air, and they are all the time pumping. But I don't know how all these organs are working. In Westminster Abbey, there's one of these organs, and these organs in churches are sometimes very old. Why? Because they're incredibly expensive to make them new. They are very big, they're meters big, they're basically a half church. They are many meters high. The half of a church is an organ. And he wrote church music. He was the organist at Westminster Abbey. So Henry Purcell was the person who played at that organ in that church in which the monarch of the United Kingdom is crowned. And he wrote also music for the organ. And he wrote also operas and other pieces. Operas are basically musicals, I said in the last part what it is. But it has a bit... No, I don't know if one can say a greater story or something, but it has more continuously music. And it's not that sometimes comes music, it's all the time music, and it's more about the music, and whatever happens, it is about the music. No matter what or how it is talked, it is about the music. It's first and foremost music. Maybe that is an idea. And he also wrote other pieces and developed a British style distinct from that elsewhere in Europe. So all around Europe people were writing classical music, and Henry Purcell developed a specific style which is a bit unique than in Britain. He continues to be influential on British composers. I just put he continues. So he continues to be influential on British composers. So if someone sits now today down and writes a bit of music that has a little influence of Henry Purcell, maybe the person who sits down and writes a bit of new music has listened to something of Henry Purcell previously, and now if they write something, they think they write something similar, or they ever learned, or they're looking into the notes and seeing some ideas, and they're going to use it. So he has an influence on British composers. Henry Purcell is listened to all around the world. So maybe someone in the Mongolai sits down and writes something influenced by Henry Purcell. That was Henry Purcell. We're going to do now just standing yoga. If you're here for George Frederick Handel, then you can just skip to the next part. If you participate in the standing yoga, that is at your own risk. We're having the feet standing together, and we're breathing slowly in and lifting the arms up into eagle's wings. And breathe out, bring the arms again down. And again in and lift the arms up. And again out and down. And again in and lift the arms up. And again out and bring the arms down. And again in and lift the arms up. And again out. Now we're breathing in. We're doing the crab in the morning. And we're breathing out. We're lowering the arms and we're opening the chest to the sky. Breathing in. And out again, the crab in the morning. And in and lift the arms up. And now we're doing a retreat in the wind. We're leaning back with closed hands. And again in into the middle. And out and leaning it back. And in into the middle. And out and bring the arms down. Now we're doing a triangle. These toes are pointing in that direction, way into that. We're breathing in and lifting the arms up into a T. And we're breathing out and shifting over to one side. And we go out, looking up to the other hand and taking hold of it. And breathing in into the middle. Changing the position of the feet. And out and shifting over to the other side. And up. look at that. And again in. And out back into the middle. And let us switch up. Now we're standing cat and cow. The feet are together, leave better an inch of space. We're breathing in and leaning onto our knees. And now we're breathing out and we're making a head of the back, that is the cat. And breathe again in, into the middle. And out, make a belly of the back, that is the cow. And again in, into the middle. And out, the cat. And again in, into the middle. And out, the cow. And again in, into the middle. And out, the cow. And breathe in the last time in the middle. And into the cow. And now in the middle. And out, we're coming slowly up with a load back, making at the top of the backward shoulder roll. Now a chair. Same position with the feet. We're breathing in and lifting the arms up. And again out. And we're breathing in and we're coming up onto the toes. If you want to take a break during this exercise, you can do it at any moment. Breathe in. And out, we're going down into the chair. I keep standing on tiptoes during the whole exercise. And now breathe deep in and come slowly up. And again out. And again in and slowly up. And again out. And again in, come slowly up. You can take now a break for 2 cycles. And out, we're going down. And again in and out. And again out. And again in and out. You can now start again in for the last 2. And out and down. And again in and out. And out and down. And last time, up and down. In and come up. And again out. Now we're exiting, we're breathing in and coming up. And out, the arms down and knees. We're having the feet standing together. Breathing in and lifting the arms up. And breathing out, we're doing the down diving swan, down diving dolphin. Now breathe in and bend the right leg and stretch only the left leg, the mountain. And breathe in and straighten both legs. And again out and stretch only the right leg. Breathe in and straighten both legs and out. Stretch only the left leg. Breathe in and now stretch both legs. We're doing the penguin. Breathing in and lifting up the right arm up to the sky. And out, we're looking over the right shoulder to the sky. And we're bending the left knee. Breathe in and take the arm again in. And out and down. And breathe in and open the left arm to the sky. Breathe out and look over the left shoulder to the sky and bend the right knee. And again in, put the arm again in. Out and down. Breathe in and come into monkey half lift.
And out again, down. Breathe again in, come halfway up, lift straight back into monkey half lift. Out again, down. And breathing in into the up diving swan. Close the hands and lower the hands slowly. And return with Zen Yoga. I thank you very much, and until next time.